Good morning, Dragonflies. It's time for a lesson with Mr. Madsen. Today we're going to start doing lessons that I call second step lessons. And today's lesson is going to focus mainly on our feelings. So let's get started. So I want to remind you about Kelso though first. Remember, Kelso helps us solve small problems. He says there's two kinds of problems. There's big problems and small problems. But small problems are the ones that we can solve ourselves because we're smart enough and we're strong enough emotionally to solve them. But big problems have to be helped. We have to get help from adults that we trust. Even adults who face big problems have to get help from adults they trust. So again, Kelso gave us 9 ways to solve small problems. But if you face a big problem, something that is scary, something that's dangerous, you have to get help from an adult you trust. So we're going to start talking about our feelings. And you might recognize some of these faces. How do you think she looks? If you thought happy, you're correct. Yeah, she's smiling, she's looking up, she looks happy. How about him? If you're thinking sad, you're right. He's got a frown and he's looking down. He's sad. How about this one? He looks mad. You guessed it. That's right. He's made fists with his hands, and look at his face. It's a really grumpy face. I don't know what happened. He's either on the playground or at the park or in his backyard. But something happened that made him super mad. How about Andy here? There's a clue on the window there. That's right. If you guessed a storm and lightning and thunder, you are correct. He's afraid of the big storm that's coming. Yeah, this one's pretty easy, right? She's surprised. Yeah, she can't believe that the present that she got in that small little box, it was given to her. She's surprised. And this last one, this is kind of hard to see, but if you look at her face and you look what's in her hand, let me tell you what's happening here. So she went out to the playground to play, and she walked in the grass, and she stepped in somebody's gum that they spit out, and it stuck to her shoe. So now she's trying to pull it out with her fingers. It's disgusting. Yeah, this is disgust. She's making kind of a Mr. Yuck face, and she's pulling that out. It's disgusting. So, have you ever thought about our feelings can sometimes be like the weather? If you're happy, you feel like it's sunny. If you're sad, it might be rainy. Mad or angry might be like thunder and lightning. A storm is coming. Scared might also be like a storm is coming. Worried could be, well, people get worried when there's snow and ice. They get worried about being able to drive and get to where they need to be. But kids love the snow. They love to go out and play. So when it's snowy, that might not be what the weather is for you when you're thinking about worry. Embarrassed. Embarrassed is one of those feelings that none of us like to experience, but it happens to all of us. And it's when people laugh at us or make fun of us, and we just want to shrink down to a really tiny size. We just don't want people to look at us anymore. Shocked. We just can't believe that something just happened. And so we've got a picture of lightning there. And then confused. And confused is kind of like a tornado or a whirlwind. It's just spinning around, and we're always confused about what to do. Now I've got a video for you about our feelings. Let's watch it, and then I'll come back.
Today we're going to learn about emotions, feelings, and moods. We're going to learn where they come from, what they look like, and what to do when you have them. Have any of you ever had a feeling?
Mad, sad, happy.
Wow, you guys already know a lot of feelings. Are there any others?
frustrated, bored, excited, anxious, tired, proud.
You can have different feelings throughout the day because they change, just like the weather changes. It can be sunny in the morning, windy in the afternoon, and rainy at night.
Will I always notice that I'm feeling something?
No, Jack, sometimes we don't even notice our feelings.
Like it's a sunny day and you don't even notice the weather.
So, this is what we already know. We all have feelings, all the time, even when we don't know we're having feelings. Feelings are part of us just like the weather's part of the world. And they can change, just like the weather changes. Okay. Big question. Is it okay to have feelings?
Maybe.
Is it okay to be a sunny day?
Yes.
Well, of course it is. And if feelings for us are like the weather for the world, is it okay to have feelings?
Yes.
Is it okay to have strong or stormy feelings?
Maybe. I don't know.
Is it okay to have strong weather like a super stormy day?
Yes.
And if feelings for us are just like the weather for the world, is it okay to have strong feelings?
Yes.
Exactly. We all have strong feelings. Feelings are simply how we respond to things that happen to us. Does anyone actually know where we have feelings?
Here?
Here. Here?
Here.
Here.
Here!
Well, you're all a little correct. That's why feelings are so hard to figure out. They sort of happen in your head, but kind of everywhere else too.
So, if feelings are everywhere, let's see what feelings look like.
If feelings are everywhere, what do they look like?
Yeah, what do they look like? I'm confused.
Well, Vivian, you look confused. Your face is what feeling confused looks like. Oh, now you look happy to me.
Oh, now you look mad.
You guys have lots of feelings, and you're showing them on your faces. Other people can understand what you're feeling just by looking at your face.
You mean like this?
He's sad. He's happy.
Or this?
He's bored.
You guys are reading faces, just like reading your ABCs.
Okay. That was a really good description of how our feelings can be like the weather, and that our feelings are just our body reacting to what's happening around us. Let's talk about our brains. I know you've seen this poster when you were in school, and maybe your teachers have it up when they're presenting their lessons around mindfulness, but I just want to go over it really quick, okay? So the first part of the brain that I want to talk about is the prefrontal cortex, that front part that's purple. And remember, it's the part of our brain that helps us to solve problems. It helps us to pay attention, helps us to make good choices. It's the part of our brain that we're using when we're learning, okay? Then there's the amygdala, and this is the security guard. He's trying to watch out for danger and keep us safe. And his response is, to a situation that might be, that he perceives as dangerous, would be to fight, take flight, freeze, faint, or flinch. So fight means we need to protect ourselves. Flight, we need to just leave, get out of there. Freeze is what happens when we just are frozen like a statue and we don't know what to do. Faint is kind of like falling asleep. It's kind of dangerous though, because if you faint, you just fall right where you are. And if there's a table or a chair or something there, you might hit your head. That fainting's not a good thing. And flinching is what we do when we sense danger. So like if you're sitting in your room and all of a sudden somebody slams the door and you flinch, like, what was that? That's a flinch, and that's a survival instinct. So again, the amygdala is our security guard, and it's trying to keep us safe. It's the like trying to keep us safe and survive. The last part of the brain that I want to talk about is the hippocampus. And no, that's not an animal that lives in the jungle. Okay, it sounds like hippopotamus, but it's a hippocampus. And it's the library. It saves all of our memories. It saves our habits. It saves everything. And so the hippocampus is an important part of our brain because it's where we store information that we can use later, like Kelso's choices. So we store those choices there in our hippocampus, and that helps our prefrontal cortex be able to make good decisions. Okay. Sometimes the amygdala tries to take over, and that's when we have to do deep breathing to calm our brains down and our bodies down so that our prefrontal cortex can help us make good choices. So ways to calm down. Last year when you were in class, we talked about these, and your teacher might have talked about a couple of them, but here's some ways, okay? And they involve breathing, okay? We have belly breathing, which is where you breathe in through your nose, hold for at least 3 seconds, and then out through your mouth. And you can put your hand on your belly and feel it rise. And it's not something you want to do fast, it's something you want to do slow and methodical, okay? You want to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. That's the how to calm down. And then you might remember balloon breaths, and that's where you pretend to fill a balloon with your arms, and then you let the air out. Same idea. You're filling your lungs with air, holding, and then letting it out slowly, and you're using that as a way to calm down. Another one is faucet breaths, and this is hard for me to demonstrate right now, but you basically have your hands out in front of you, and when you fill your lungs with air, you make a fist, and then when you let the air out, you make the shh sound like a faucet. And so those are faucet breaths. And then one of my favorites, hot cocoa. So you have your cup of hot cocoa, but it's too hot to drink, so you smell the cocoa, hold your breath, and then blow on it gently to calm it down and cool it down. And that's hot cocoa breaths. There's one more that I don't know if we talked about or not. That's right, volcano breaths. And this is where you put your hands together, and when you breathe in, you make the lava go up out of the volcano, and then you breathe out. It spreads everywhere. Volcano breaths are kind of like balloon breaths. They're kind of fun. All right, take a look at this picture. This is Paul and Corey. What do you notice about this picture? I know, it's kind of an old picture, right? There's a chalkboard in the background instead of a whiteboard. Yeah? What's Paul doing? Looks like he's trying to do his work, right? Corey, he's reading. And you know what he's reading? He's reading a joke book. Okay, here's what's happening. Paul and Corey are in class, and their teacher said, finish this assignment, and when you're done, sit quietly and read so that your classmates can all finish in quiet. So Corey was fast. He got his work done really fast, so he pulled out a joke book. Well, that probably wasn't the best choice because he started to want to share the jokes with Paul. But is Paul done with his work? Nope. So Paul has to try to ignore Corey. Okay, so what's the problem here? Paul needs to finish his work. And Corey wants to share his jokes, but it's not the right time. And we get really anxious, especially if we find something we want to share with our friends. We're like, I gotta tell you. But that's not always the right time. Okay, so we have to wait. And Corey's not recognizing that, okay, I'm either going to get Paul in trouble or I'm going to get in trouble by talking to him, because this is not the time. So what are some solutions? Paul needs to ignore Corey, right? Is ignoring easy? No. We learned that ignoring is one of the hardest choices that Kelso has us do, right? We can't look at the person and we can't talk to them. We just got to focus on the work. But if Corey is really laughing and he really wants to share it, ignoring might not be the best choice. What are some things that Paul could tell himself to keep from looking? He could say things like, don't look at Corey, just finish your work, then you can look at the joke book, just focus on the work. Focus. Do you think there's another solution, though, that Paul could do if Corey keeps trying to pester him? Yeah. Sometimes, and you might remember this from last year in your class, you can go to a different place in the classroom to finish your work. Or you could ask your teacher and say, I'm really having a hard time. Can I move somewhere else? Okay. Or you might go up to your teacher and say, can you move Corey? Because Corey is talking to me and he wants to share his joke book. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want him to get in trouble. Can you move him so he doesn't bother me? Those are all possible solutions, okay? Here we have Erica and Dara. Erica and Dara are at daycare. Do you notice what Erica has in her hands? Yeah, it's a book. But does she want to look at that book? No, it doesn't look like it, right? Dara has a video game that she just got, and she's playing with it. And Erica really wants to play. However, Dara's mom said, no one can play it but Dara. So Erica's looking at her and wishing she could play. Yeah, this is a difficult one. So, what's the problem here? And what are some solutions? Erica could ask to share, right? She could even offer to trade her book for the game. Okay? But we know that Dara's mom said, you can't let anyone else use this game or it won't come to daycare again. So Dara is kind of in a tough spot, right? She wants to play the game, but she can't share it. Erica could choose to read her book and wait until Dara's done, and then they could play a game together, right? Okay. Well, I think also there's one other solution, don't you? Dara could choose to put the game away and do something with her friend that they both could do. That would be a nice solution. So, what do you think would happen if Erica just takes the game from Dara? Yeah, they would get really upset, right? They would probably have a fight. Dara would scream at her, and then Dara's mom might find out, and then Dara wouldn't be able to play the game or take the game to daycare again. And it would probably hurt their friendship. Okay? So, questions to ask yourself sometimes when you're in a situation like this is, I have this solution. I could ask her to share. I could offer to trade my book. I could read my book and wait for a turn. I could go play something else. Or I could take it. You have to ask yourself, is it fair? So let's take the last one. If Erica chooses to take it, is that fair? No. Is it safe? No. How does it make people feel? Upset? Angry? Would it work? Probably not, right? It's probably going to be just a problem. What if Erica read her book and waited for a turn? Is that fair? Yeah. Is that safe? Uh-huh. How does it make others feel? Well, Erica might be disappointed that she didn't get to play the game, But I think overall their friendship would be still intact. Would it work? Yeah. So we already know that Erica can't ask to share or trade her book because of Dara's mom's request that no one play. So what about the solution of Erica going and playing somewhere else with someone else? Is that fair? Yeah. Is that safe? Yeah. How would it make others feel? Well, Erica might feel better playing with another friend and playing a game together. Dara might feel sad that she doesn't have her friend by her, right? Yeah, it's possible. Would it work? Most definitely. So we have a couple of options there. Going and playing with another friend, or using her book and just waiting for Dara to finish. So again, I want you to remind you, Dragonflies, that when you're facing a problem and you start to feel your amygdala take charge and feel like you need to fight, flight, freeze, faint, or flinch, breathing is the one way to calm your amygdala down and your body down so that you can use your prefrontal cortex and think about a solution. And sometimes breathing, you can picture in your mind like this dandelion. You can picture you breathe in, hold, and then when you blow out, you know what happens when you blow on a dandelion, right? The seeds float off of it and they float away. And maybe that could be your angry, upset feelings that just float and fly away. It's just an idea. All right, here's your instructions. After watching this lesson, I want you to complete the Flipgrid activity that's attached. Dragonflies, I hope you have a great day.